Let's be honest. It's fun to judge people. When they are behaving badly, it's nice to be in a superior position and be able to judge them. There's probably evolutionary reward mechanisms in our brains that give us pleasure when we can criticize others and reassure ourselves that we're the virtuous ones. I mean, like actual neurological incentives to look down on other people. Like, I imagine this is why reality television is so popular. Those programs were probably created specifically to milk whatever evolutionary instinct exists inside us to judge other people. But to say that sentence, judge other people, it sounds negative, doesn't it? Judge other people, being judgmental, that sounds like a character flaw, but I don't think so. And in this video, I'm going to explain why being judgmental is a virtue and necessary if you want to be a masculine man. I don't want to stop you from being judgmental. I want you to be more judgmental. Of course, if you're going to do that, it's important that you do it in the right way. Let me explain. In a recent Skype consultation, a guy was telling me about his childhood, and it was really rough. His parents treated him horribly, there was lots of abuse. His life had been really hard, and so he sort of developed this life has screwed me, so screw everyone else, screw life sort of attitude. I'm not going to go into details, but suffice to say, there was some pretty unethical behavior that he was engaging in. He was treating the people around him really badly. Now, to me, this is very problematic, and over the course of our conversation, I explained to him my perspective, that in order for him to have a good relationship with himself and to preserve his self-esteem, it was highly necessary, like absolutely essential, that he be able to look back at his childhood and the way that his parents raised him with complete confidence that they were wrong to do so. I wanted him to be able to look at his parents and say, you let me down, you should have done better. I shouldn't have had to suffer abuse at your hands. I deserved better treatment than that. To say that out loud is a powerful statement of his own worth, stating that he deserves better treatment. But the problem is that he can't say that. He can't even think it because, yes, his parents did treat him horribly, but he is also treating other people horribly. He could use the excuse, oh, well, I've had a tough life, but his parents could also use that excuse. And so you see, if having a tough life is a legitimate excuse to treat those people close to you really, really badly, then he has no right to be upset at his parents. He who is without sin may cast the first stone. There's some wisdom in that. He had succumbed to the if you can't beat them, join them mentality. But do you see how dangerous the practical application of that psychology is? In essence, by giving up the moral high ground and engaging in the same behaviors that his parents, he is retroactively justifying their behavior towards him and giving up his genuine claims to victimhood. What a tragic missed opportunity. He could have looked down at his parents and said, you should have done better. In judging them to be lacking, he could have boosted his own self-esteem, reassured himself that he is worth more, that he deserved more. The same principle applies in romantic relationships and marriages when your partner does something terrible to you. If they lose their temper and start yelling at you, do not yell at them back. If they hit you, do not hit them back. If they cheat on you, do not go and have your own affair. If you do so, then you lose the moral high ground and you retroactively justify their behavior. You can no longer point the finger at them and say, you shouldn't have done that, because you'd be a hypocrite. Now, those aren't perfect examples because they're the person who acted first and you're just responding. I get that, but you understand the general principle of what I'm saying here. Your ability to point the finger at other people, to judge and to criticize, is massively enhanced if your record is clean. But if you sink to their level, then you give them the necessary ammunition to fire back at you, or at the very least to ignore you. What you want to be able to do is to cast judgment on other people with a completely clean conscience, knowing that you have standards for behavior and they have failed them, whereas you would never. Now, I understand that some of the language that I'm using in this video might make some people quite uncomfortable, because here I am talking about criticizing people, pointing the finger at them, judging them, and they still have that old programming operating inside their brains saying, what's all this? Isn't being judgmental a bad thing? I don't understand. I've always been raised to believe that it's a virtue to be non-judgmental. It's absolute nonsense. The only people who push this line that it's virtuous to be non-judgmental are those people who are doing bad things and they don't want to be held accountable for their behavior. Imagine how absurd it would be to raise children with this philosophy of being non-judgmental. Like the child says, I don't want to eat vegetables, and you're thinking, oh, well, I don't want to judge their eating preferences. The child never cleans up after themselves. And you think, oh, well, I don't want to judge their choices. Your child becomes a bully and starts physically attacking other children. And you're like, well, I don't want to judge how they express anger. You see, the idea is completely ludicrous, and any attempt to actually implement being non-judgmental in any practical sense has disastrous results. I've made the case many times on this channel already that the reason that there is this increase in negative female behavior is because of third wave feminism making everybody terrified to criticize or judge women for any reason, lest they be labeled as sexist. Surprise, surprise, when we stop judging negative behaviors, we see an increase in them. Toxic femininity is on the rise because women are able to get away with it. That's entirely predictable. So, as a man in your self-growth journey, do not aim to be non-judgmental. That is not a virtue. You must be extremely judgmental. But, and this is the important part, in order to be good at judging people, and by good I mean effective and authoritative, you cannot be a hypocrite. In your relationship and in your family, your wife and children are going to be looking to you to be a role model, to be a leader. As the masculine man, that is your job. Your role is to lead by example, to demonstrate what behaviors are appropriate. What is the correct way to interact with the world and with other people? Men who act and lead in this way genuinely inspire people around them to become better versions of themselves. In their relationships, in their families, even in their social circles and in the workplace. You can probably think of your own experiences, like think of all of the bosses that you've worked for, and you'll realize that those that got the best work out of you, those that you liked and respected the most, were those who led by example, who couldn't just talk the talk, but who actually walked the walk. And this is not a bad thing. This is not a sacrifice that you need to make. This is a reward that you should actively seek. It is a wonderful feeling. You feel immensely masculine when you cast judgment out onto the world, knowing that your words match your actions. You can feel that your words carry a weight. It's like the strength of your well-earned reputation is expressed in every single word that you utter. When you say, that person shouldn't have done that thing, they were being selfish, they were being lazy, they should have acted in this way. When everybody around you knows that were you in that person's position, you would have done the right thing, then your words mean something. To have your opinions carry weight, to have people listen respectfully when you speak, that is one of the natural rewards that comes from being a genuinely positive masculine man. But if you have a history of being lazy and selfish yourself, then you can't go around judging people, because who are you to cast judgment? You're a hypocrite. Your words are hollow and meaningless, and they're certainly not going to inspire any respect. If you lose your natural moral authority, then you cannot fulfill your role as a masculine leader, because nobody is going to respect your judgment. You know those families where the teenage kids are rebelling and acting horribly, and everybody always provides sympathy for the parents, like, oh, I don't know what you did to deserve kids like that. Like, where did this behavior, where did this attitude come from? Everybody always looks down on the children and sympathizes with the parents. But I always think, well, how are those parents behaving? Maybe there's a good reason why those kids don't respect their father. Maybe he's a massive hypocrite. If their father genuinely is a moral failure, then to show him respect would be psychological suicide. It would mean to disregard their own judgment, to completely ignore and deny reality. And to do that is not good for your own self-esteem. In essence, for their own psychological well-being, for their own survival, they have to rebel against their father. And let's talk about women and how important it is for you to be judgmental in your romantic relationships. I've spoken before about how rare genuinely high-quality women are, and that the few that do exist are most likely already inside relationships. I've given my recommendation to date younger women who have that high-quality woman potential, so that the two of you can help each other out and inspire each other to grow into the best version of yourselves. But even in that dynamic where you're helping each other grow, as the man in the relationship, it's still going to fall on you to take ultimate responsibility and to take the lead. What that means in practical terms is that as the man, you're going to need to be the one to set the minimum standards. But if you're expecting your female partner to meet those standards so that she can become a high-quality woman, do you see that you need to meet those standards yourself? You cannot expect from someone else to live up to standards that you yourself fail to meet. In fact, if you do hold your partner to standards that you yourself completely ignore, that is a quick recipe to lose a good woman. Remember, the dating market is abundant for women, even low quality women, and so don't get complacent, don't get lazy. If you're actually in a relationship with a high quality woman or a woman who's on her way to becoming that, if you start failing these own standards, then she's just going to leave you for someone else. Men are highly replaceable in the dating market. And just in case this needs clarification, remember, I'm not saying be a simp, not at all. You need to have standards, even strict, high standards for how your partner needs to behave. It's just that you need to meet those standards yourself as well. It's actually in meeting your own standards that gives you the confidence and masculine assertiveness necessary to be able to demand that from your partner. What you're declaring to the world is, I have met these standards. I am worthy of a high quality partner. I'm entitled to it because I'm doing so well, and so I expect the best from my partner also. So forget all of this non-judgmental nonsense. To judge is to be masculine, and women are attracted to those men who have the best judgment. Judgment is fun, and it's a way of expressing your self-esteem. It's a powerful declaration of your own self-worth. It's how you assert your quality into the world. It's you declaring what standards you live by and what standards you expect others who want to associate with you also should live by. And the key to unlocking all of this, just don't be a hypocrite. Don't be a sinner, because it's more fun to cast stones. Should you seek closure after a breakup? Is there ever an instance where a young single man should consider dating a single mother? And is it possible for a high quality man to also have a criminal record? All of these topics and many more are covered in exclusive videos available to my Patreon, including my latest video, Is there a correlation between a woman who is low quality and women who show a lot of skin? In this video, I talk about the psychological motivations women have to show lots of skin in public, as well as outlining the dangers that you need to be aware of dating a woman who needs external validation. I talk about the increased likelihood of a woman like that committing infidelity, as well as what it indicates about a woman's opinion of herself and her own self-esteem and how that's going to impact your relationship. If you're curious to know whether or not it's reasonable to judge the quality of a woman based on how much skin she shows, then I highly recommend you check out this video. For every video that I post on YouTube, I post an additional bonus video on my Patreon page. That means that at the moment, you're only seeing half of the total content that I create. If you would like access to the other half, then please go and sign up at my Patreon page. It's just a $5 a month subscription, and you get instant access to a whole bunch of exclusive content. It's a wonderful way to support the channel, and I would love to see you over there.